Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. Enlightening text 24, text 25, text 26, text 27 and text 28 of chapter 19, the appearance of Shukdev Goswami of first canto, creation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 24, Tatashacha vaha pruchhayami mama vipruchhe vishrabhya vipra iti kritya tayam sarvatmana mriya माणैश्च कृत्यं शुद्धं च तत्रामृषता भियुक्ताः. O trustworthy Brahmanas, I now ask you about my immediate duty. Please, after proper deliberation, tell me of the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die. In this verse, the king has placed two questions before the learned sages. The first question is, what is the duty of everyone in all circumstances, and the second question is, what is the specific duty of one who is to die very shortly. Out of the two, the question relating to the dying man is most important, because everyone is a dying man either very shortly or after 100 years. The duration of life is immaterial, but the duty of a dying man is very important. Maharaj Parikshit placed these two questions before Shukdev Goswami also on his arrival, and practically the whole of the Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning from the second canto up to the last, the 12th canto, deals with these two questions. The conclusion arrived at thereof is that devotional service of the Lord Shri Krishna, as it is confirmed by Lord Shri Krishna himself in the last phases of the Bhagavad Gita, is the last word in relation to everyone's permanent duty in life. Maharaj Parikshit was already aware of this fact, but he wanted the great sages assembled there to unanimously give their verdict on his conviction, so that he might be able to go on with his confirmed duty without controversy. He has especially mentioned the word Shuddham, or perfectly correct. For transcendental realization or self-realization, many processes are recommended by various classes of philosophers. Some of them are first class methods, and some of them are second or third class methods. The first class method demands that one give up all other methods and surrender into the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus be saved from all sins and their reactions. Text 25. Tatra bhavad bhagwan vyasaputro yadrucha chaya gamatmano अनपेक्षः अलक्ष्यलिंगो निजलाभ तुष्टो वृतश्च बालैरवधूत वेशः. At that moment, there appeared the powerful son of Vyasdev, who travelled over the earth, disinterested and satisfied within himself. He did not manifest any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status of life. He was surrounded with women and children, and he dressed as if others had neglected him. The word Bhagwan is sometimes used in relation with some of the great devotees of the Lord, like Shukdev Goswami. Such liberated souls are disinterested in the affairs of this material world, because they are self-satisfied by the great achievements of devotional service. As explained before, Shukdev Goswami never accepted any formal spiritual master, nor did he undergo any formal reformatory performances. His father Vyasdev was his natural spiritual master, because Shukdev Goswami heard Srimad Bhagavatam from him. After this, he became completely self-satisfied. Thus, he was not dependent on any formal process. The formal processes are necessary for those who are expected to reach the stage of complete liberation, but Srila Shukdev Goswami was already in that status by the grace of his father. As a young boy, it was expected that he should be properly dressed, but he went about naked and was uninterested in social customs. He was neglected by the general populace, and inquisitive boys and women surrounded him as if he were a madman. He thus appears on the scene while travelling on the earth of his own accord. It appears that upon the inquiry of Maharaj Parikshit, the great sages were not unanimous in their decision as to what was to be done. For spiritual salvation, there were many prescriptions according to the different modes of different persons, but the ultimate aim of life is to attain the highest professional stage of devotional service to the Lord. As doctors differ, so also sages differ in their different prescriptions. While such things were going on, the great and powerful son of Vyasdev appeared on the scene. Text 26. Tama davyashta varsham sukumar pada karoru baha vamsaka pol katram charva yatakshon nasatulya karna subravannam kambusujat kantham. This son of Vyasdev was only 16 years old. His legs, hands, thighs, arms, shoulders, forehead and the other parts of his body were all delicately formed. His eyes were beautifully wide and his nose and ears were highly raised. He had a very attractive face and his neck was well formed and beautiful like a conch shell. A respectable personality is described beginning with the legs, and this honorable system is observed here with Shukdev Goswami. He was only 16 years of age. A person is honored for his achievements and not for advanced age. A person can be older by experience and not by age. Srila Shukdev Goswami, who is described herein as the son of Vyasdev, was by his knowledge more experienced than all the sages present there, although he was only 16 years old. Text 27. Nigudha Jatrum Pruthu Tunga Vakshasa Mavarta Nabhim Vali Valgudaram Cha Digambaram Vaktra Vikirna Kesham Pralamba Bahum Swamarot Tamabham. His collarbone was fleshy, his chest broad and thick, his navel deep, and his abdomen beautifully stripped. His arms were long and curly hair was streamen over his beautiful face. And the hue of his bodily features reflected that of Lord Krishna. His bodily features indicated him to be different from common men. All the signs described in connection with the bodily features of Shukdev Goswami are uncommon symptoms typical of great personalities according to physiognomical calculations. His bodily hue resembled that of Lord Krishna, who is the supreme among the gods, demigods and all living beings. Text 28. Shamama Sadapi Vyavayo Angalakshmya Strinam Manodnyam Ruchirasmiten Pratyuthitaste Munayah Swasnebhya Stala Lakshanya Api Gudha Varchasam. He was blackish and very beautiful due to his youth. Because of the glamour of his body and his attractive smiles, he was pleasing to women. Though he tried to cover his natural glories, the great sages assembled there were all expert in the art of physiognomy, and so they honored him by rising from their seats. Hare Krishna.